economic justice. We recognize that injustice is connected to structural inequalities, both within and between countries. The horrific things we have seen and continue to see in Guatemala today, the violence, the femicide, the brutal poverty, are connected to us in very real ways, in ways that are designed and reinforced every day. The armed conflict in Guatemala, which lasted more than 30 years, began with America's bloody response to Guatemala's democratic spring, a time of redistribution of land to peasants and flourishing of democratic freedoms. We know that rape was a systematic practice carried out by state agents as part of its counterinsurgent strategy as a weapon of terror. We know that many women were sex slaves at a military camp in the 1980s. They're just now speaking up. The slavery lasted 6 months for some, 6 years for others. Before kidnapping the women of Sepur Zarco, the army murdered their husbands who were defending their land. In the late 70s, Canadian mining company Inco was entering the resource-rich hills. And this is the Canadian imperialism that we see in Guatemala. We don't often think about, but we think about America's interventions in Guatemala, but Canada had a very real presence there and were implicated in massacres and the murder of students and professors in Guatemala City in the 70s. And the Canadian government supported that. So Guatemala has made important advances in building democratic institutions since the Civil War, but Canadian mining companies have also returned, compromised those democratic institutions, and brought violence to communities already traumatized, like they've done in Honduras, the Congo, and indigenous territories here in Canada. So on January 17, 2007, women from the community of Lote Ocho were raped by private security guards of a Canadian mining company, police officers, and the army as they carried out a violent eviction of the community for the mine. These brave women are making legal history in Canada. For the first time, a Canadian company is being tried in a Canadian court for its conduct in another country. 11 very brave Maya Kechi women are suing Hudbay Minerals for rape in an Ontario court. Also suing Hudbay in the same lawsuit as Angelica Schock, who many of us met here. She came and visited Fredericton. She also offered her solidarity to the Mi'kmaq land defenders in Rexton in 2013.